Do you guys, I know, and I don't really mean to pull this off into the conspiracy type lane, but I just feel like I can't have this conversation without going there. Do you think 9/11 was a legitimate terrorist attack?
I believe that it was a combination of things. I don't know who coordinated with who. I won't speculate, but I think the official story is so full of holes that it just can't. The official story cannot be true.
Yeah,
there has to be truth. I'm sure there are plenty of truthful elements to that story. I'm sure that,
like the fact that planes hit the buildings.
Yeah, or
that's about as truthful as I feel like it gets.
Well, for me, I can't make any. Like, I don't want to say certain things. Like, I don't want to say like, well, you know, those guys that they said were the pilots weren't really the pilots, or that a plane really didn't crash in Pennsylvania. Because as much as I may have seen evidence to suggest those things, I don't feel comfortable blanket statementing that. But what I will say is there is an underlying motivation we do not know about, and the official story is fucking just full of holes.
Bullshit.
Full of holes. How the fuck they find that man's passport? How the...
One of those guys isn't even dead.
Yeah, I mean, you keep walking around.
That.
I've heard that.
I'm not so sure how true that is.
But I've heard that.
But I feel you. There are plenty of things like that. Thermite.
Yeah. The thermite is
building
ridiculous.
Building 7. Like, there's so...
That one, that's the shit that I was just like...
I heard a guy who was going... He was part of the construction crews that was in charge of, like, picking up and then going through the rubble. And he said that the only item that they could, say that it came from the building that would imply that this was a office building that was taken down was half of a rotary phone. They didn't find any desks or chairs or anything. All of that stuff was just obliterated into dust.
In Building 7?
In the World Trade Center, like the two towers.
Building 1 and Building 2?
Like, when you see that, Tower 1 and 2, like, when you see the debris from that stuff, it's literally like dust.
What are they...
Because the idea that that was empty. That would have been hard to do.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like that's kind of hard to pull off.
If you believe that there were multiple explosions all the way through the building as they would a demolition, those explosions happen at central points within a building on the structure, which means that they would be very close to all of the things that would normally be in a building if you saw it fall under its own weight or whatever, like desks and shit. Now, if explosions go off on every single floor and obliterate all those desks and phones and chairs and shit like that, then you would see nothing but rubble at the bottom, which is, I mean, it's just strange that they didn't find anything other than a phone.
I don't necessarily think it's strange, because the way I look at it, whether it was a series of controlled demolition that brought it down, or whether it was a plane, we saw it fall. And when it fell, it was all the floors pulverizing all the floors underneath them. Vaporizing everything. So, like, I'm not surprised they didn't find desks or anything like that, because every single floor was smooshed by the floor above it, and thusly. Yeah. And we're talking
thousands upon thousands of pounds of concrete.
We're talking,
I feel you.
Yeah.
And rebar and just...
Now,
you know what I mean?
To your point, though, if you look at pictures of the Pentagon, there's...
Papers, desks,
literally where you can see where there's the... explosion, or whatever you want to call it, the impact point.
Impact hole,
and you literally have just a desk with some papers on it chilling. And it's like, that is really hard to reconcile with your brain.
Like you said, that building didn't collapse in the way that the other one did. You
Correct,
know what I mean?
But it was impacted by something, or something hit it. You know, we have 2 still frames from a like a fucking security guard's booth.
There's no question in my mind what happened with these planes. The motive of who orchestrated the attack is where I think all of the doubt comes into play. But the fact that 2 planes hit that building, one went down in Pennsylvania and one hit the Pentagon, I don't see. I mean, there's too many people who saw it with their own 2 eyes.
This is the perfect...
I don't know about the Pennsylvania thing.
This is the perfect opportunity to pull up Operation Northwoods that we have up here, because I think it's in my terrorism document. I don't think we have it pulled up yet, but it's at the bottom there. Operation Northwoods, in conjunction with us talking about 9/11, is very pertinent. Operation Northwoods was a proposed false flag operation against the Cuban government that originated within the United States Department of Defense and the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the United States government in 1962. The proposals called for the CIA or other U.S. government operatives to both stage and commit acts of terrorism against their own American military and civilian targets, and then blame them on the Cuban government, using it to justify a war against Cuba. This was if I believe, I'm not sure it says on this page, but it was signed by the Joint Chiefs of Staff and brought to President Kennedy.
Yeah, he's rejected it.
And he rejected it.
Yeah.
So this was
all the way up to the president.
How, like, literally, how that sounds exactly like 9/11.
I hate to be this guy, but Donald Trump signs this. So I'm just you know what I mean? Like you can see a world where a president, George Bush, could sign off on something like this.
Yes, which is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
Is that if you and you can't not believe in Operation Northwoods, it's declassified.
Oh,
That's
also
the
John F.
fucking
Kennedy was
right
killed,
there.
by the way.
Yeah, domed in the back of a fucking Lincoln.
Which is ironic.
Domed.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And it's just, you can't look at that and then say, oh, well, 9/11's obviously not, that had nothing, there's no way that could ever be an inside job.
Yeah, like, how's that even,
exactly
like this has happened.
I think,
It's happened.
yeah, I think the consensus answer here is that it's hard to say what exactly happened, but we know for sure that what they said happened is not what happened, or at least not all of what happened. There's so much more that we do not know about it, and because of that, like you said, I will not defend it. Like, I don't think I could take a single adult seriously who lives in America that told me that they believe 9/11, like that the 9/11 report is 100% factual and they didn't leave anything out of it. I literally probably laugh in your face, and I try to avoid doing that.
Yeah,
I've never met an educated person whose opinion I trust who has ever said that they believe the story that they gave us.
I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Even engineers have conferences every year where they look at the evidence,
rediscussing the fact that none of this makes any sense,
relitigating this entire process.
Yeah, with everything that they could potentially find and all that stuff. And so I think it's very fascinating, but it does play to what you just said about that. Like they literally call them terrorism attacks against their own people because of, to use John's cool coined phrase, their agitation events.
Yeah, they're meant to agitate for a purpose.
The whole idea is to strike fear into people, right? That's terrorist attack, to instill terror. And when people are in a state of terror, they become easily influenceable. You know what I mean? Easily.
Very easily.
Look how easily they got me to join the army.
Dude, seriously.
I didn't even fucking have a second thought. I was just like,
seems like the right thing to do.
Seems like the right thing to do. Seems like the American thing to do.
I feel that.
America.
And so, terrorism is just, we always have to guard against that. Like I said, to me, the one thing I want to leave this conversation thinking about terrorism is that it's not something that you fight, right? It's something that you seek to understand and you seek to minimize.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like famine
it's through taking care of people, you make less people likely to end up a terrorist or likely to be influenced. I think it's about making people stronger on their own independent, these needs for all of us to tie into these groups can be such a detriment to us sometimes, whether that group be American or some type of religious affiliation, or even your family who's super toxic and you just can't, like our inability to be individuals in a collective, it keeps us stuck in these types of patterns where it's easy for us to say, damn, I can't believe they did that. We should all go up and do this to make sure that never happens to us again.